Unbelievable, but this peaceful little square once divided the world, and somehow its story was forgotten. On one side, Gorizia, Italy, with elegant old palaces and unmistakable Italian charm. On the other, Nova Gorica, Yugoslavia's first socialist town, bold, modern and built from scratch. And in between them, the Iron Curtain, where west faced east.
To Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the Rhine.
Honestly, I didn't expect much when I came here, just to learn what happened, see the highlights, and see how these two cities are coming together as Europe's capital of culture 2025. But what I discovered was Europe's most surprising twin towns, with a heartbreaking story, a haunted medieval castle, the world's strangest cemetery, and a Cold War museum hidden in a train station. Gorizia and Nova Gorica were never really on my bucket list, but now I think they absolutely should be on yours. This is another episode of Hidden Europe. To be honest, this is not the most impressive square to start with, but this is the exact spot where the last piece of Iron Curtain between East and West finally fell. This was the Cold War's forgotten front line. A white line once ran right through it, dividing East and West. On one side, Gorizia, Italy. On the other, Nova Gorica. Back then it was Yugoslavia, today it's Slovenia. And you couldn't just walk across it. There was barbed wire, fences, armed guards. This quiet little square was once a tense pressure point, where capitalism faced communism up close. See that number right here, 57-15? That's not random. It comes from a Cold War era border stone that stood exactly here. 57 was the sector of the Iron Curtain, and 15 was the marker within that sector, one of hundreds that slice right through this region, splitting families and lives. And then, in 2004, everything changed. When Slovenia joined the European Union, the fence finally fell. There was celebration, relief, and even tears on both sides of the border. The square was redesigned, and the last true border between East and West disappeared, transformed into a symbol of peace, unity, and freedom. On the Slovenian side stands the old train station built by the Austro-Hungarian Empire for the grand Vienna-Trieste Railway, a reminder that this land once lay deep within the Imperial Habsburg territory. Today, the station still serves trains, but it also tells a far more painful story. Inside, a small yet powerful exhibition, spread across just two modest rooms, captures the trauma this place endured. After 4 brutal years of World War II, people hoped for peace, relief, a new beginning, but instead, this place became a pawn in a Cold War chess match between global superpowers. What they got was more division, more fences, more barbed wire. The shifting border between Yugoslavia and Italy tore through this town like a blade, separating families, cutting off friendships, shocking entire communities overnight. This wasn't just politics, it was heartbreak. One place where this border turned surreal sits quietly on the outskirts of Nova Gorica. Here lies a peaceful cemetery, the final resting place for generations. And in 1947, a brand new border cut right through it. One half remained in Yugoslavia, the other became Italy. Families separated, even in death. Barbed wire ran through the cemetery itself and even cut graves in half, except for one day a year, November 1st, when people from both sides were allowed to visit. That day became less about mourning the dead and more about seeing the living. A rare chance to glimpse a loved one, pass a message, or quietly hope. Today, the deeply human story is preserved at Vsemir, a small but powerful exhibition on the cemetery grounds. It invites us to pause, reflect, remember. The exhibit is split into 2 small rooms standing quietly at the entrance to the cemetery, just like the word Vsemir, which holds 2 meanings. First, it means the universe, and the first room reflects on the space we all share, regardless of flags or fences. It starts with the cemetery and slowly zooms out to the universe. But Vsemir also means peace for all, and the second room tells deeply personal stories of how this border once cut through the cemetery, disturbing the very peace you'd expect in a place like this. It's free and open every day. All you need to do is to follow the simple instructions at the entrance and generate a QR code to unlock the rooms. The post-war division didn't just split families and cemeteries. It also tore the city of Gorizia away from its natural surroundings. The city was given to Italy, but most of its historic hinterland ended up in Yugoslavia. With Gorizia gone, the Yugoslav side was left without a regional city, no institutions, no identity. Yugoslavia had to act, and fast. So in 1947, Yugoslavia began building one of Europe's youngest cities, Nova Gorica, literally New Gorizia, a bold experiment on the edge of the Iron Curtain. The very first purpose-built socialist town in Yugoslavia. Urban planning, architecture, even the monuments, all were designed to reflect the ideas of socialism and to impress the capitalist West just across the border. The city's construction was entrusted to the youth. Volunteers from across Yugoslavia organized into youth labor brigades. There was barely any machinery, just shovels, pickaxes, and wooden wheelbarrows. In the heart of Nova Gorica, on the edge of the spacious main square, you will find a small bronze monument dedicated to those young pioneers. A quiet reminder, Nova Gorica wasn't just a city, it was a statement, a symbol, a vision of the future. Meanwhile, Gorizia ended up in Italy, and the contrast couldn't be more striking. Here you feel the weight of centuries, topped by a medieval castle hiding a ghost story. This hilltop fortress has dominated the skyline for nearly 900 years. For centuries, Gorizia belonged to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and its castle overlooked a multicultural region between the Italians, Slovenes, and Germans. But everything changed during the First World War. The Austrians lost this region, and the castle was heavily bombed along with much of the town below. In the 1930s, a careful restoration gave the castle back its medieval soul. Inside, you'll find the Museum of the Middle Ages with original furniture, weapons, and even interactive projection and holograms that bring centuries-old stories to life. One of them is the legend of the White Lady. They say she unleashed her dogs on a traveler seeking shelter, just to steal his bag of gold. But her servant, tempted by the same treasure, turned on her and killed her. Now, her restless spirit haunts the castle, appearing once every 7 years, dressed in white. Just outside the main gates of Gorizia Castle lies Borgo Castello, a medieval quarter tucked within the castle's outer fortifications. It developed in the Middle Ages to house soldiers, craftsmen, and administrators serving the castle. And it still feels like a hidden village frozen in time, with its stone houses, cobbled lanes, and fortress-like layout. But the real centerpiece of Borgo Castello is the Museum of the Great War, one of the most powerful places to understand how this region was torn apart during the World War I. Inside, original uniforms, weapons, personal letters, and battlefield relics reveal the human side of the Isonzo Front, the largest mountain warfare in human history. Multimedia displays and immersive reconstructions evoke the brutal trench conditions that unfolded just kilometers from here. Between 1915 and 1917, Italy and Austro-Hungary clashed here in 12 massive battles. Over 1.7 million soldiers fought on this front. More than 500,000 never came home. Gorizia was caught in the crossfire and forever changed by it. From the medieval quarter, stroll down Via Rastello, Gorizia's most charming and historic street. If you visit just one street in town, let it be this one. Elegant facades line the cobblestone lane, home to independent boutiques, vintage shops, and local cafes. The street takes its name from the Rastello, a metal gate shaped like a rake that once stood here, where merchants had to pay a toll before entering the city. The street opens into Piazza Vittoria, the largest and grandest square in Gorizia. It's a striking blend of Italian elegance and Central European order, dominated by twin towers of St. Ignatius Church, built by the Jesuits in the 17th century. Around it, you'll find elegant palaces, once home to wealthy merchants and nobility during the Habsburg era. Today, they house cafes and restaurants where you can sit and soak in the layered beauty of this overlooked town. Just a short stroll from the main square lies one of Gorizia's most elegant estates, a peaceful villa with royal secret. Built in the 1500s, Palazzo Coronini Cronberg was the private home of the Austrian noble family. Today, it's a museum surrounded by a lush park, and it feels like stepping into a forgotten world. Inside, you'll walk through perfectly preserved saloons, libraries, and bedrooms filled with 18th and 19th century furnishings. The last count's private quarters remain exactly as he left them. But what makes this villa truly remarkable? A king of France died here. After the revolution of 1830, Charles X, the last reigning Bourbon king, was overthrown and fled France. He wandered Europe until he found refuge in this villa in Gorizia, then part of the Austrian Empire. And here, in exile, he died in 1836. The bed where he spent his final days is still on display, a powerful reminder of how history can hide in the most unexpected places. But the French royal story doesn't end in Gorizia. Just across the border, hidden in the Slovenian hills above Nova Gorica, stands a quiet monastery, Kostanjevica, surrounded by nature and silence. Here, a quiet Franciscan monastery with sweeping views guards one of Europe's most unexpected royal tombs. Beneath the monastery church lies the crypt of the only French king buried outside France. This is the final resting place of Charles X, the last Bourbon king of France, buried alongside 5 other exiled members of the royal family. The monastery is still active, so visits are quiet and respectful. Besides the crypt, you can explore the elegant Baroque church, modest but harmonious in design. And in spring, don't miss the rose garden, with over 100 varieties in bloom, some dating back centuries, a floral tribute to faded royalty. But the hills above Nova Gorica don't hide just royal secrets, they also hold Cold War stories. Not the kind you see in spy movies, but real, personal secrets of fences, smuggling, and life on the edge of Europe's Iron Curtain. Today, those stories live on inside 2 small border huts at the Old Trafoot crossing, one in Italy, one in Slovenia. Both transformed into unexpectedly powerful and even surprisingly funny museums. Through faded photos, border uniforms, personal testimonies, and a few clever contraptions, you get a glimpse of what the daily life looked like on one of Europe's tensest frontiers. But not everything was grim. Residents of Nova Gorica became masters of improvisation, smuggling blue jeans, cassette tapes, and even Western movies from the Italian side. Coffee, books, electronics tucked under coats, hidden in car panels, or sewn into secret linings. Anywhere custom officers might not think to look. It might sound absurd now, but this wasn't just rebellion, it was survival with a wink. It's easy to forget just how wide the East-West divide really was. Back then, 30 kilos of smuggled coffee could pay for a wedding. 60 kilos? That could get you a brand new Volkswagen Golf. These 2 small museums do a tremendous job of reminding us of that divide. They don't just tell Cold War history, they let you feel what it was like to live between the 2 worlds. Gorizia and Nova Gorica are a powerful symbol of Europe's turbulent 20th century history. So it feels only right to end our journey here, above twin cities, on the edge of the Karst Plateau, where a 25-meter peace monument rises in silent tribute to the people who defended this land. From up here, the view stretches in every direction. The Adriatic Sea, the Julian Alps, and the rolling hills and valleys surrounding Gorizia and Nova Gorica. And from this height, you don't see a border, just beauty and possibility. And maybe that's the real story here. 2 cities, once divided by barbed wire, now sharing a stage as Europe's capital of culture in 2025. And if you're planning a visit, don't stop here. Just above Nova Gorica lies the lovely wine region of Goriška Brda. To the south, the Karst Plateau offers wild limestone landscapes, the legendary Lipica stud farm, and the stunning Škocjan Caves, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And up north, the emerald waters of the Soča River are waiting. If you made it this far, you're clearly a true explorer. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep discovering Europe's hidden gems together. Did the Twin Cities surprise you? Have you heard this story before? Drop a comment below, cause I'd love to hear from you. I'm Rock. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.